everybody's quiet.
Well, no, was that the what was that? The what brand was that? The Wave.
Frank?
Oh, you're muted, Frank.
Magna Carta.
Was it Magna Carta?
Yeah, the Magna Carta here. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that one. Yeah, of course.
Right here. Yeah.
He did say that he was going to send over a bunch of feeds. So if you could replace it, you can get an ebonite feed.
Say that.
Yeah. And understand that I guess in vintage pens, and I'm not into vintage pens, but I believe that all those vintage pens from back in the 20s, 30s were all ebonite feeds, were they not?
That's correct. They were.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it'll probably be a better flow. People do appreciate that. It will come, with a cost, but it's not going to be a deal breaker. Probably talking about another $10, $15 for that.
And that's worth it. Well worth it.
Lyra and I will discuss that, in due time. Right now, the stuff I'm getting just to update what I have,
And now this pen right here, the converter screws in. Okay, so
all
of your pens except for the Elements are cartridge converter. The Elements is the pneumatic vacuum filler.
Mm-hmm. The ebonite feeds can be heat sealed as well. You can heat them and set them. Not that I would ever try anything like that, but I understand that that's the benefit of having an ebonite feed, because you can heat it and mold it.
Yeah, you can. That was, I think, what Noodlers, remember, that did that. So, but
there's slight changes that'll do it, but I think the most benefit of ebonite is a really good flow. Like, no matter what I put in an ebonite feed, it doesn't jam right up. And if you want a good wet nib, or maybe if you want like a flex nib modification on your pen, an ebonite's the way to go.
The night, I don't have it with me. It's in my bedroom on my desk. I've already inked it up 4 times. That has stayed religiously inked up. It's just so much fun. It writes it just blew me away. I couldn't believe it. And then, because I hear people criticizing and cutting down Indian pens. Well, this is unbelievable. The quality of this pen, it's a game changer now. It's they're hanging with the big guys now, I think. Believe it or not, this pen is worth to take a look at, in my opinion.
Well, Larry, I mean, with the biggest Indian fountain pen maker, or at least the one I comes to mind is Fountain Pen Revolution. And, I know a lot of their pens are entry level and really inexpensive. Yeah. So that that mindset of it being a cheap pen from India, although I know they probably have nicer pens, but I will say this about Fountain Pen Revolution. I bought a couple pen rolls from them. The leather, it was absolutely fantastic and very affordable.
Well, once you taste this ebonite feed and compare it with Revolution's, you're going to see a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge difference. Just like I was expecting that same kind of feel with Kevin's from Fountain Pen Revolution, which is a good fountain pen. I'm not cutting that down. That's a great fountain pen. I love them, and I'll continue to buy them. But when I checked out Heron's, that just blew me up. Bam! Wow, what a pen, And then the prices that they're sold for, it's a win-win. You can't go wrong with them, Would I spend $15, $20 more for that ebonite feed? Certainly.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I want to something real quick.
Yeah.
So this bad boy is a massive Gamma Supreme, and these are made in India. It's completely ebonite pen, and they're hand turned. Super nice pen, and ebonite feed, of course. So I can contest. If you get the right Indian pen, they can be amazing. And this pen, it is probably about $50 or $60, from Fountain Pen Revolution, back when they used to sell them. I don't think they sell them anymore, but it's a monster pen. It's a huge one, and I love it. I'll put glitter inks in my ebonite feed pens because the glitter does not jam like in other pens, and it does really, really well. And it's got a bit of a flexi nib in it, number 6, and it does really, really well. I love it.
So the ebonite feed on that, Justin, not have all the fins? Is it more of a flat like the Omas?
Feed itself is
Yeah.
more cylindrical. It doesn't have deep. It's got it's got all the fins like a feed would, but it doesn't have like the deep fins like a plastic feed would.
Well,
Where it's like real ribby, like maybe on a
Mhm.
Twisby or something. So it's like more of a solid shaft with a good, nice cut groove in it. Because I mean, with most of the Indian pens, the ebonite feeds are hand cut and handmade. They're not like factory because that hard rubber. I think it's got to be like carved. So it's very well done. It doesn't look chunky like like maybe a poorly hand carved thing. They're very well done. I mean, I know that there's a company, I can't remember off the top of my head, that makes them like more machined ebonite feeds, but it's nice. They are really nice. The hard part, I think, sometimes is finding an ebonite feed that's good quality ebonite, because some ebonite, I noticed, maybe it's due to the alkalinity of the ink. It does kind of pit out some of the ebonite if you get a bad quality ebonite feed, but most of the time they're pretty good. And I think the ones that I have, and probably certainly in the Magna Cartas, once they have them, will be really good too.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But if you're into like wanting to get like a flex nib or flex modification, like maybe you want to get like a nice pen with an ebonite feed and like a number 6 flex, which I highly recommend, get an ebonite feed, because you won't get the railroading you'd get with a plastic feed.
Mm-hmm.
They keep up, and FBR does a pretty good job with their like advanced flex nibs. But then I think what Conklin makes a flex as well. But I think the problem with the Conklins is their feeds are plastic, and so for some reason you get some stiction, that physical stiction that happens with plastic. Whereas if you put an ebonite feed in there, the Conklin I think would do a lot better.
Yeah, the Conklins are all plastic feeds, even with their newer ones. I have one of the originals, and it railroads like crazy. I remember. Not the last Ohio show, but the year before, I went to Frank looking for just a regular nib unit to fit into that Durograph. Those original ones were not great.
Hey, Stephen, is there a nibs? It's called it's on our Kansas City meetup. There's a lady there that buys those ebonite feeds from a company, and they can custom make it for that Conklin.
Yeah, so I'll keep a look out for it.
I'll send you that link once I know what it is.
I appreciate it.
And by the way, everybody,
link down too, because that's a solid fix.
Yeah. By the way, has anyone here ever been enabled, whether it be pen or ink or something, by one of the other people in here? I want to make a shout out to Stephen White. If I'm not mistaken, you were the one that kind of posted something about an envelope maker board. And so now I have the ability to make envelopes. I don't do it, but I bought all the paper and the envelope board. And thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome. Yeah, that was probably me for that. I blame my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is a paper crafter, and she bought 2 of them. Gave me 1. She's like,
works.
Here you go. Have fun.
It works.
That was ages ago, Stephen?
It was. I think it was 2 years or so ago.
Yeah.
2, 3
Maybe
years.
2 to 3.
Yeah, I think it was 2.
And there was a run on those makers.
Mm-hmm. Thanks
because
to
of Stephen.
Yeah, I posted I think it was a quick video showing how to use it.
Yeah. Great.
Well, you're the expert at measurements.
Tell that to my boss, who hasn't had some of our equipment calibrated in years.
Lannis, I just want to say you have a package of envelopes coming.
Oh, okay.
I shipped it out this week.
Thank you very, very much.
I do
Now,
it all.
Tina makes amazing envelopes from next to
them.
nothing, and they're amazing looking.
That's amazing. Will? Yes.
And mine are all done by hand.
Wow. I wanted to know if you realize you have the name of another pen maker. The owner of Tactile Turn. Do any of you have a Tactile Turn pen? Lyra, are you familiar with those?
Say again, I didn't hear you.
Tactile Turn.
No.
Yes, we saw those at the.
I have one of their pens. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
In fact, I looked on their site the other day. I didn't see them carrying any more fountain pens.
Yeah, Tactile Turn. Well, he'll make them for you. Will Hodges is his name. He's the owner of the company.
Right.
So,
I thought they did. Did they do like book binding is,
Did they?
I'm wrong? Okay.
He does it. He turns them, and they have actually the grooves in the pen of on the one I bought. The gist. I love it. That's a great feel.
Oh, is that the guy that does the helical?
No,
thing?
no. This is actually they're metal. They're a metal pen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, Will, the helical one I think you're thinking of is additive pens.
Yep, additive pens.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right, Steve.
His are all 3D printed.
Right. And they're
So
Jerry.
cool.
Jerry.
I want to circle back to Indian pens. Another brand that I'm exclusive for is called Constellations 88. They also have their own site. This is an independent maker as well. The pen that I'm keen on, the one that I carry, is called the Lyra, because this pen is all celluloid. It's acrylic celluloid.
Wow.
It's a modern acrylic celluloid.
Wow. Okay. Never seen that one.
Okay, so this one is called the Lyra, Lyra. It is $200 list, and it is celluloid, and it is thick. You know, there were some people out there that deal with celluloid. Fagginato comes to mind. Of course, unfortunately, we lost him, so he's no longer making pens. But this pen, as you can see, is actually much thicker than that. This is a Piston Filler. It uses a Bach unit, German nib unit. It uses the Schmidt piston unit that a maker can buy and make a pen around. So it offers that. He makes them. He has it in this white. He has it in this nice pink.
Oh,
he's got a blue that I'm actually out of, and also has this nice brown version too.
And they're all celluloid?
And they're all celluloid, yep.
What size do you have, Frank?
Bach.
No, what size did they come in?
Any size. I do extra fine, medium, and broad in Bach. You guys know that. I also have my own Federalist Pens nibs I can put in here too. So Bach number 6 nibs.
Cool. Unscrew?
I also offer my stub nibs from Nib Grinder. I offer my Architect nibs from Nib Grinder and stub nibs.
Now, are they screw-in nibs?
They're screw-in nibs. Yep. It's a Bach number 6 unit. Yep. Screw, unscrew.
Okay, real quick. Let me ask everybody that's on right now. What's y'all's feelings on the Bach versus the Jowo nib? Who prefers what and why? Anybody, raise your hand. I will start with Will.
For the Yoho nibs, I found that the Bach nibs seem a little softer. I don't know if it's the metallurgy that goes into them, but I think the Yoho nibs are just a little more robust. But I find the Bach nibs to be a little soft. Not soft in like springy writing, but for example, if you need to open the tines or something, you put a little pressure on it. I find that they do bend a little easier or manipulate a little easier than a Yoho nib. So, speaking of Yoho nibs, and Justin brought up the ebonite feed deal. I have several. Here's an Ahab that I have inked with a Birmingham red Fred Rogers cardigan ink, but I have a Yoho number 6 broad nib in it, and it is slick as glass and performs amazingly. I think the like Justin was saying, the ebonite feed to me, I think has a much better capillary action and works better than a plastic nib. Of course, that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, cool.
You can take it to the bank.
I will. Let's see when I get my check in, whenever that is. Okay. Tony, what was your thing?
Well, no, I'll be real quick. Yowo nibs for steel and Bach nibs for gold. I think I've got Bach, a couple gold Bach nibs on some classic pens. Andy Lambro likes to use a Bach nib for his gold nib. They write really well. But Yovo nibs, I don't think I've ever gotten a pen with a Yovo nib that didn't just write perfectly when I started writing with it. I never had to jack with it. So yeah, and the ebonite feeds obviously. As some of the ebonite feeds I've got on my Omos pens almost look like they're flat. I don't see any kind of fins at all. They look almost just flat, and they really ebonite obviously is going to increase the flow. And if you have an ink in there, that's like Larry got me hooked, and I blame Larry now that my new favorite ink is now Birmingham ink. It'll flow out like a gusher. So, Stephen leaving?
No, not yet. I was going to say, Tony, which Birmingham inks, are they the in-house formulations or the older ones?
I guess I'm only currently with the new ones, I guess.
So so I actually know the guy that owns Birmingham.
Yeah, right.
So I know Nick.
Yeah.
And actually,
and
his brother. His brother actually owned Nemesign.
Wow.
Yeah.
But hadn't Nemesign, Stephen, gone away?
They have.
I know they're producing their own pens now.
Yeah, Birmingham.
They call them the Model A.
Nick has 3 models. 3 of them now, actually. He has the Model A, the 6th Avenue, and then the Model C, which just came out.
Well, let me hold there. Now, let's talk about Nick on Birmingham Pens. Years back, I've been talking to Dick and his brother about come out with a clip. And you saw the new pen.
Yep.
I've been talking to him religiously. I said, Nick, do the clip, the people will come. Nick, do the clip, the people will come, will come. I've been after him a long time. And then he let me know before it's come on, he said, Larry, we're working on the clip. It will soon be out.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talked, he didn't send me a pen to review. So the people didn't see it. And he let me know that he would send one later, but he sold out that fast.
Yeah.
I told you, make the clip, the people
will come. And that was the clipped ones are $300 compared to his Model A's, which Model A and the 6th Avenue, which I think were $150 or $200 for the demonstrators.
Yeah. And they're all gone. So they're going to make another batch. So Nick, if you hear me, remember, I'm the man that got you going on it. And you can tell him, Stephen, I'm the one. I can prove it all because I have it all on videos, all on messages.
Next time I'll see him.
But they make an excellent pen. No, Birmingham makes a great fountain pen.
Mm-hmm, they do.
Money. It does. They're die for. They are hand poured each of their inks now. So they've come a long way, but they've always made a great pen.
Yeah, so I wish I had brought mine with me. It's in my case at home, uninked at the moment. But I have one of his legitimate prototypes. It's the Model A in I can't remember the name that he calls it, but it's the pink and blue, the cotton candy finish, the cotton candy. But it's number 10 of 10 of his very, very first production batch.
Wow.
The ones that he just is like, hey, we want feedback. We'll sell them at half the MSRP because we know there are issues, and we want the community's feedback on it.
Stephen, I imagine it's got to be exciting. You live in Pittsburgh, and that company's in Pittsburgh. All of his inks are with Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I bet that's fun. Larry, we got a new person here in the Zoom in the corner here. Ole.
Yeah, I was fixing to get to him. Ole, introduce yourself and take it away, Ole. Welcome. Can't hear you.
You're muted there, Ole. We can see you, but
no, he doesn't show muted.
No, he doesn't show muted. Now you're showing muted. There you go.
Okay, now just Maybe your microphone's down too low.
Talk, Ole.
Hello.
No, you're showing muted.
Now you're muted.
Might need to activate the microphone on his device.
There you go. Nope.
We can do silent films, y'all. We can just silent. There you go. Yeah.
Just write it on paper, Lynch, and hold it on.
Huh.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, so is that all we have on the Joe and the Bach? Anybody else want to comment on that? Going once, going twice, gone. Oh, go ahead, Justin.
I got it. Oh, go ahead.
Justin. Yeah, there you go.
I always take the chance to run my mouth. I don't know. I like them both equally for different reasons. And I think maybe sometimes what affects a nib's flexibility is the nib size in the sense of the nib's number, not necessarily the nib tip size. So like a number 5 is going to flex maybe less than a number 6 will. With the Yoos, I've liked all the pens that I've had them in, although I think I've had them more in 6s. So they do write like nails in the sense that they're hard, but they've always been smooth nails. And then like the box, you know, in all the Kavekos, most of those they're not even like a 5. It's like I can't remember the number for them. They're like a little half 5. And, you know, those have been good too. I've had to polish probably a few more Bach tips, you know, nibs than I've had to polish Yoos. But, you know, once you get them smooth, they feed really well. So, I mean, they're both good for their own reasons, I think. I bought a couple custom Yoos from that guy over in Spain. I think it's like nibs.com. And it was cool because he carves little cool breather holes. So you get like the keyhole or the heart breather hole in the nib, which I thought was kind of a cool little embellishment they got. So, yeah, I mean, they're good steel nibs. They're solid. They've been around. And sometimes you might need to touch up the Bach ones a bit, but, you know, they're solid.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the feed. Go ahead, Tony. You have something?
Well, I've got a topic. I just recently purchased a bunch of paper from Japan, Tomoe River. I bought 4,000 sheets. 4,000 sheets. Lisa Saavedra, she's not here tonight, but she works with Mark Backus. She bought 4,000 cream. I bought 4,000 white. We swapped 2,000, and now we have half and half. Okay. I just want to bring this up because I got to bring this up because that I've noticed, and Frank, this is going to be including you. You sell Tomoe River paper. It is not the same paper. Larry, was yours the new recipe or the new formula? No. Yours the old one. The one that you got was the old one.
Right.
The new one is abs. And some of you that will be receiving my letters, I've used this new paper. You'll notice the difference. It is definitely not as soft and pliable, if you will. It is still great paper. I love it. I gotta love it because I got 4,000 sheets. So I gotta love it. But it is definitely different paper now. It's not the same. No question about it. It's still great paper. Frank, the paper that you're selling in your pads is the old one, I'm assuming. But this new paper has a lot more. It's a little stiffer. I don't know how to explain it. It's still no bleed through.
Yeah.
It's great. It still shows the sheen. But any opinion? Any of you got the new paper yet? Frank, what about you?
No. My distributor is the U.S. distributor for Tomoe River, Lion Office Products. And the pads I use are from the authorized distributor. And right now they have the old paper, and they told me for at least through this year, they're still have the old paper. So honestly, I have no experience at all with the new paper. Even Nebula Notes, the Nebula Notes stock that I am getting and I currently have is still the old paper. So I'm still relying on my information from you and other people have told me.
Yeah.
So what's all good?
I would suggest you all order some paper from Frank now, because once this old paper is gone, it's gone. And the new recipe or the new formula, because I got it from the company that makes it, and obviously when you buy in bulk, you're going to get a good price. But who needs 4,000 sheets other than someone that writes 100 letters a month?
Yeah, so, we do. We do. That's who needs it. We do.
Yeah.
Definitely, Tony can get through it if anybody can get through it.
Yeah.
Tony, if you don't like the paper, at least you're well prepared for the next toilet paper shortage.
That's good. That's a good one, Will.
Yeah,
The other brand of Tomoe River that I offer is, of course, Endless Journals, and they're 68 gram. From what I understand, that the 68 gram is going to continue to be the same quality. It's the 52 gram. For some reason, has to change due to the new manufacturing process. From what I've been told, from the letter we received, the new manufacturing process requires, a different type of paper.
Just so you can hear this. Now, regular Tomoe River is not going to have that sound, the old one. But you'll be receiving some letters, the ones that I've just written with that new paper. So.
Okay, let's move on then. Are we done talking about the bark and talking about the JoWo nib? Anybody else? Going once, going twice, done. All right. Talk about feeds. Plastic feed versus ebonite feed. What do you prefer and why? And is a plastic feed a good feed? Anybody, any techers?
I think that I mainly have plastic feeds, other than in a couple of vintage pens that I have. My grandfather's Schaefer and a Peter Pan that I found, and another Schaefer Franken pen that I found really, really, really cheap, that eventually I plan to get repaired so it's usable. I just dip them and they hold the ink and they hold it really well. Almost as well as I would say the modern plastic feeds do.
It went good.
Well, the plastic feed always comes in handy because, it's not going to be nowhere close as wet as the ebonite feed. So people that are taking notes real quick or in school, they want something that to dry fast. So here, bam, here comes your ebonite feed. So that's handy. Some people just don't get it. Bam, oh, I don't like ebonite. Yeah. Oh, why does this? It's so wet it doesn't dry very fast. Well, you're using ebonite. You're not using plastic. They just go off. They don't get it. There's a big difference, and I think there's a reason for both. So,
well, a lot of it has to do with the lubrication of the ink. How lubricated it is, how much it flows.
That's another reason. But just the plastic feed by itself, I don't care with any kind of ink, you're not going to get the same kind of outcome as you do with a ebonite feed. Ebonite feed, you're going to come 20 times wetter than a plastic feed. But depending on what kind of ink you use in it, you can pick up the wetness in that plastic feed a little more, or you can open up the channels a little bit, or the nib a little bit to make it wetter, up to the individual. So I think they're both important.
I'd like to present a word of caution to the tinkers. Here's a small section off a pen, and you can see there's an ebonite feed that is broke off in it. And that was just from trying to pull the feed and nib out of the section. So just a word of caution, the ebonite is a little more brittle and will certainly break on you quicker, I think, than the plastic nib. So just a word of caution, the ebonite is going to be a little more brittle, I think.
I've had JoWo feeds break just as easily.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and it's out of this most recent batch of them, the ones with the cracked housings.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I don't know if they've changed their process or anything, but it did diverge a little bit, Larry, with JoWo and their cracked housings. I don't know if they've changed what the actual chemistry of the plastic that they're using. So it might just be JoWo. It might, I don't know. But I've had JoWos effectively just snap in half. But I know that the center channel on them can be a little bit thinner than some.
Mm-hmm.
So they're maybe just a little more delicate in general.
Okay, now let's go. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tony.
I was going to bring up an ink now, if you don't mind. I want to talk about an ink.
That was next.
Okay, well, I just pulled out because I've still got about 5 or 6, 7 bottles of the old Private Reserve, because when I first started, I bought a Private Reserve. It was kind of inexpensive and very saturated, and the ones I've got are absolutely fabulous. DC Super Show Blue, Super Violet, some of that. Now they've come out. Is it luxury brands or that's pulled, or is it Yafa that's now taken over Private Reserve? Anyone know, Frank?
Yeah.
Yafa.
They have Yafa.
It is
Yeah,
Yafa.
so
Good.
they're gonna. Are they going to? Have you got any information? Are they going to take the original recipes, or are they just going to start making from scratch and just have the logo label?
I have no idea.
The only thing that I heard, and this has been a while back, Private Reserve is going to continue making them, but they're not going to make as many colors as they used to make. I forgot the reason. I got to see if I can find the texts that I had between them and.
All right, the person that ran Private Reserve passed away.
Right.
Rest in peace, Darla.
Yep, there we
Private
go.
Reserve basically went out of business due to the death of the owner.
Yes, that was
last
it.
year.
That was it.
And Yafa bought the rights and took it over. So yes, you're right. They are only going to do certain colors, and it is more money. And we'll see. I'm on the fence about it, and we'll see. You can still buy old formula. I mean, it's not super old. Dale Pencala, I recommend. Opus Macan. Dale was close to Darla, who was the owner of Private Reserve up until last year. He bought a lot of.
Okay. Well, he's okay.
Getting back to what I said.
Speak it up.
Old Joe, you're very emphatic.
Oh, yeah, there you go, Ole. Ole!
Yeah. Okay. Can I just say
Everybody hear what I
something
said?
about-
If you still want to get stock in the old Private Reserve, Opus Macan, Dale.
You were talking about the Colorverse inks earlier,
Colorverse, sure.
and I got the Hayabusa, and it's the glistening, so it's purple and it's got like a silver shimmer to it.
Yeah.
And it literally shimmers on cheap paper. My school copy paper, the loose leaf notebook paper that I take notes on my students during the day, it shimmers like crazy. It drove the kids crazy when they saw it yesterday.
Wow.
Colorverse is a great, it really is.
And I put it in the blue vodka and ice, so it's really sparkly to begin with. And then they have sparkly ink. It just drove the kids crazy.
It's a great color.